G'day folks, Andy here from McDowall Manor. So some of you will remember when I got this Bakerstone pizza oven that sits on your barbecue. Finally tonight I got around to it. It's cooler weather over here now, so I thought we'd fire it up, see how it performs, eh? This is not a pizza making video, it's simply trying to have a look and see, does this crazy $45 or $40, I can't remember what it was, pizza oven, does it really work on a barbecue? So you can see there's 4 grills under it, they're all lit, and the 2 up the end which are under a plate, a grill plate, they're not lit obviously because they're not under the pizza oven. So on top there is a little fancy dial. When it gets to the hot in the middle, that's working like an oven, and when it gets to the flame, that's ready for pizzas to be done. So we'll give her a bit of time to warm up, shall we? I haven't got it on full bore yet, I'm waiting to sort of see what happens. And it's heating up pretty quick actually. I'm quite surprised how fast that's happened, because I've literally just walked inside, it was nothing. And I've walked inside, got the video camera, come back, and it's almost already at the oven stage. So that's alright. I'll also mention it says do not shut the lid. Given how quick it's heating, I can actually see why they say that now. I think you'd be headed for a damn disaster if you did. So the first pizza's kind of in. I put semolina on the bottom and learned very quickly that I shouldn't have done that. It just burnt black as a crisp really quickly. You can see that she's well and truly sort of almost halfway, not quite. So I'm waiting to see how long this takes. I'm going to push it back a bit in a minute because obviously it's hanging out the front. But I'm just waiting for it to crisp a little bit on the bottom so that it will move nice and easily for me. Alrighty. You can no longer see, but it clearly slid backwards fairly easily, which I'm happy about. Hopefully that means it's going to come out just as easily. Yeah, we'll soon see, won't we? Like the big oven I've got outside, I've learnt that you do need to rotate these at the halfway mark, because the back's hotter than the front. So I've done that. I'll give it a few more minutes. I think this one's actually looking pretty good. So what's also interesting is the big wood-fired one that I've got out the back. Literally, you've got your pizza in for 2 minutes, you pull it out. This one's a little slower. Having said that, I'm not seeing anywhere near as much evidence of burn either, so it's probably a good thing. I know it is well and truly hot, because you can see where the temperature gauge now is. The fire sign is, yes, you're in pizza cooking territory. Okay, now I'm in the dark, so bear that in mind, but I've left it in too long, and I've burnt the back of it and scrunched it up. But the front of it's looking quite good. So obviously it was in for about 5 minutes. That's probably 2 minutes too long. So it isn't far off the wood-fired pizza oven. So I've turned the gas off now. The second one was a lot better. I left it in for about 2 minutes and the top came out perfectly, but of course the trouble is now that the bottom's on the bottom and she's not sliding across properly, I can't throw semolina on there because it just burns black as in about 2 seconds. So I'm actually going to let it probably cool down a little bit. Oh, you can't even see that, there's so much smoke and stuff coming out of there, but it's still pretty hot. I'm hoping some of that bottom burns off, and we'll try and get the next one in. So it's definitely heated up and turn it off because it holds its temperature really well. And I'm still waiting to see how this one comes out. I actually predict it's going to be a lot more successful. A little harder to tell because this one's got feta cheese, which doesn't melt very well. But anyway, so I'll give it a couple of more minutes, pull it out and give you a look. So pizza number 3. It certainly wasn't going to come off the stone. So what I decided I'm going to do is put the stone in and see how it goes. I'll judge it off the top, and I'll let you know whether the bottom's still stodgy or whether it actually cooks. It's a bit of an adventure, isn't it? Woohoo! Now hopefully you can see that properly. I'd say that one is pretty well perfect. Some of the cheese is browned, which is what you'd want, but certainly there's no burn. Yeah, I'm actually very happy with that one. Most of these are vegetarian pizzas, you will have noticed. It just so happened we decided we'd have a vegetarian night. Probably you're looking at 2.5 to 3 minutes. Make sure you rotate at the 1 or 1.5 minute mark. What comes out is pretty damn good. That's with the camera light turned off, so hopefully you can see the proper colours on that one. So I think that's a lot more successful. Nicely coloured. The bottom is fairly crispy. So I think we've finally got it. A little bit of mucking around I think has paid off. We'll know when we see the final one come out of the oven, folks. So it is a watch and manage. That's dropped a bit more than I'd like it to drop, so I'm about to put a couple of burners back on. Yeah, so honestly it's certainly been interesting. We've broken a pizza stone. You can see the edge of it's come off there. It's not the first time I've done that. I do that in the big outdoor oven as well, so I'm not so bothered about that. That seems to be a problem if you get cheap pizza stones, they're going to crack in the heat. But let's get the heat back on and keep it nicely managed. I'm going to stay just inside the really hot zone. So I've got the middle two burners back on. Now of course nobody else would probably show you their first attempt at using something like this, a kitchen appliance. But that's exactly what I wanted to show you. I want you to see the learning curve. You know, the first one was a shocker. I burnt the bejesus out the top of it. Second one was okay. The third one was a little undercooked on the base, so it's actually back in now. That's what I'm doing now. The fourth one was what taught me, do not make these things too much prior to when you're going to cook them, because it really did just stick to the plate that we had it on. I'd run out of pizza stones, so I ended up folding it over and making like a calzone out of it. But I'm sure it'll come up alright. So it's been fun, you know, we've enjoyed experimenting. Well, I've enjoyed experimenting with it. Each time the pizzas are getting a little bit better, and each time I'm kind of picking up hints like, you know, don't put it on a plate 10 minutes or 20 minutes before you make it, because that's kind of stupid. And I'm actually really confident that this thing is going to be a godsend. It heats up really quickly. Like anything, you do need to manage the heat, and that's just a trial and error. You're going to have to learn on your own barbies as well. Would I buy it again? Absolutely. It's so much more convenient than trying to burn wood in the big pizza oven outside for 3 hours to warm it up. The big one has the same sort of trouble in terms of managing the heat and burning pizzas and breaking stones. So yeah, I think it's a real bonanza. So for me on my barbecue, it seems to be working best if I'm barely in or just below the really hot zone. Sorry, it's having trouble focusing in the heat. That seems to be working really well. And I'll give you a look at this last calzone when he comes out. So there's the last stuff out the oven. Am I happy with that calzone? Damn straight. It's looking pretty damn good. I had a piece of pizza I wasn't happy with the base of, so I shoved that back in. That seems to have come out pretty bloody well as well. Who'd think it? Oh, I just want to keep doing that. Oh, good as gold. So yeah, I think it's a winner. Okay, yeah, it took me a little while to learn how to use it. Surprise, surprise. Could you copy me the same way on your barbecue? I suspect not. I think it's one of those things, you know, and at the end of the day, honestly, 3 pizzas to get it right isn't that hard, is it really? Anyway, there's the review of the Bakerstone BBQ pizza oven. See ya.